that Scuttle.
And little
You can
Skater
see
Baby,
just-
he elected to go Ruby double potion instead of going Steel Caps. And they're collapsing onto Cryptification right now. And you can see there's probably going to be a 3v3 skirmish.
Are we going to get the fight there? Cryptification ends up losing the Smite fight. 3v2, Spirit Rush gets burnt. Blazing Midnight's completely out of mana, has to flash away. Uses the Encore though, only gets to pick on the one, and JPF pops the Ignite. But the HP is going to be too high. No kills traded away, but both flashes down from Blazing Midnight and to Cryptification. And the early smite from Cryptification meant that he ended up missing out on that Scuttle, so he loses it. At the same time, bullet time used, but that Braum shield is just so strong. No kill found onto the Bullet 43.
Indeed, and you can see, like, they are losing a little bit of CS, but it doesn't really, like, is that big. Like, it's only just, like, a 6 CS differential. The big, like, lead, the big blowout right now in lane is in the top side, where, like, Malphite is, like, 10 CS behind.
Yeah. I mean, also, mid 2, kill up as well. You know, JPF and Kamaka having a much better response this game to the kind of lack of early game from Neverland Voyagers draft. At the same time, a little bit of fighting onto the Bullet, but you see the Kai'Sa ulties forward. She just doesn't have the mana to finish off a kill, wasting the killer instinct. And Shadowhopper just going to happily walk back up into that lane now because...
And Chicken is coming in. He has the onslaught.
Fantastic punish into Shadowhopper's over-aggression. Uses the Ghost, uses the ultimate. Onslaught of Shadows picking up that kill there onto Shadowhopper. Fantastic punish. We saw Shadowhopper playing so aggressive there. And Chicken and the rest of his team call it out. They punish it. And this might lead into first Drake too. And Cloud Drake, what a fantastic Drake to pick up.
Probably will, and it's a really good break for the Hecarim. It's actually like kind of valuable for the Ahri as well. If you're gonna play like Ahri aggressively the same way that JPF is, it is valuable. And like yeah, and the second dragon is gonna be an ocean, which means it's either gonna be a mountain or an Infernal Soul, which really are both like really good for both teams. I think the Infernal will be more beneficial for Abstract Chaos.
Yep.
But like right now you can see like they are in a good position. Like the Kai'Sa had the kill and assist right now.
Yep.
Yeah, and like Shadowhopper doesn't have his flash.
Oh, Blazing Midnight dodging the charm this time, but still getting a little bit chunked out. You can see the pressure from the Ahri still a little bit greater, and that Kindle gem does indicate she will be going into... I've forgotten the item now. Everfrost.
Yeah.
Yep, she will be going into the Everfrost. This is going to be a really big pick tool for them, because even though they had the Kindred and the Seraphine, their comp still is very squishy, and finding early picks is going to be really important in these fights.
Indeed, and the big thing is trying to find picks around the team fight, not in the main team fight itself. Which Ahri is really proficient at if you like have your Spirit Rush, and then you try to like find a Spirit Rush Everfrost Charm combo, which is really good. Like even if you don't hit the main route from Everfrost, it guarantees a really easy charm.
And intense burn from Benny there. A little bit of toying as JPF walking forward, but getting caught out by Cryptification. Has to use the Spirit Rush to walk out. At the same time, Malphite's contesting that blue buff, not letting Chicken get that blue buff for free. Might be giving up a little bit of CS though, but this is pretty good for Blazing Midnight. Should relieve some pressure on that lane as he has the Encore available to... Flash Charm and Ignite being burnt. Doesn't have the barrier available. Encore burnt, but just too late. Doesn't get the ulti cooldown, doesn't get burnt, but he does end up falling to JPF again. Another Flash Charm combo. Ends up with another kill going to JPF.
And this is really huge. JPF is one step closer to his Everfrost, and he is really ready to just take over the map because, like, yes, Seraphine is good at wave clearing, but with the item advantage and the AP advantage that the Ahri has, and you can see she's completed the Everfrost already.
And you're starting to wonder whether or not maybe the Seraphine and the Nico pick should have been rotated.
Indeed, and like Nico is doing work in the bot side, but it's not enough to accrue to kills. It's only accrued to 15 CS difference right now.
But that's nullified by that kill, right? And
yeah,
then on top of that, the Seraphine is suffering in this lane. 10 CS down, 2 kills down. Ahri's already on the Everfrost, sub 12 minutes. And considering they got the first strike as well, they're looking really strong coming into this 15-minute mark.
Yeah, 1,000 gold lead for Abstract Chaos right now, and there could be even a bigger lead as you can see Shadowhopper just walking into the charm.
I mean, I think he dodged the charm right, but it doesn't matter. He's diving so over aggressively. He doesn't know what summoners are available, and you see the Pop Blossom there just wasn't in place, and on top of that, ends up tanking the tower, and just kill given away. At the same time, mid Herald being burned, but Kamika's looking for a kill in the top lane. You can see he's abusing the Conqueror. Isn't able to find it though, but 3 plates end up going over to Blazing Midnight and Cryptication there, which I mean, I think you'd probably love to talk about how efficient that Herald was.
I mean, they probably thought it is a window to use the Herald, but is it the best one to give value to an already 0 and 2 Seraphine that after the Leandry, like you're not gonna really give that much like economy towards?
Oh, and it looks like Charm gets blown, and Shadowhopper's almost dead already though. Looks like okay, Spirit. Okay, and the pick is so quick I can't talk about it. Spirit Rush gets blown, another Charm comes out. Hits Blazing Midnight, has to flash. We saw the Glacial Fissure be burned, but Blazing Midnight actually flashes away from that. But yeah, like I don't know what it says. Overextension, I think, from Blazing Midnight and the rest of his team, and Shadowhopper really not knowing his power point. Another charm found. Cryptication getting caught here.
JPF is having a game right now. He
sliced the red away, but Chicken has the Onslaught of Shadows available. Doesn't burn it, but they're going to set up some vision. So yeah, we didn't even get to talk about the Herald because these fightings just keep happening. Bullet gets caught, flashes, but the Malphite burn, and you see Bullet Time comboed into JPF, getting the shutdown onto MF. At the same time, Envy comes in with Cryptication, picks up the kill onto Bullet. Okay, a load of different fights happening. Fantastic extension of the Unstoppable Force there. And if you catch that through the terrain to find a really, really good Unstoppable Force onto Bullet and JPF. Bullet Time comboed onto that and fantastically getting a really big shutdown onto this Ari, right? 450 gold going onto that MF, and suddenly MF's kind of back in the game.
Indeed, and like you can see, like there was a lot of over aggression on both sides. In the beginning goes from Voyagers, where they just are trying to push their bot lane advantage a little too hard, and they get caught up like time after time. Like Shadowhopper pushed in and he get caught. And like you can see now, like it is like almost back to like square zero, just a 400 gold lead. And ABC Chicken
encore burn, and Cryptication dashing forwards, maybe not able to find the damage though, gets charmed out, half HP, Onslaught of Shadows completely demolishes Cryptication, didn't even have time to use the Lamb's Respite, and this is just a free Drake now, especially with Malphite not having that TP. This Drake going to head over to Abstract Chaos. I mean, maybe looking to contest it, but the smite is available. They end up taking the dragon out, and Bullet gets chunked very low, but Spirit Rush has been burnt. Midnight Shadow, Blazing Midnight dodges it, but oh my god, okay. Spirit Rush plus Killer Instinct, and Kamika showing his face there, ends up picking up another kill onto Blazing Midnight. Now 0-3 on the champ.
Yeah, he's just having a really hard time after the first solo kill. Lane just snowballed out of his control, and then like all the skirmishes, he had to burn an encore there. He had to burn a flash on the scuttle, and like it was just really chaotic. And
oh my god, the damage is unreal from JPF right now. Finds a charm, combos into the Everfrost. Fantastic timing on the Q there. The Orb of Deception picking up the final kill onto Cryptication. JPF is having such a fantastic game of this Ari right now.
It is just the masterclass that's always been in the right place in the right time. Like you can see, like the time he moves into bot lane, he knows when to use it. Oh,
Kamika getting really close in these fights though. Has the E available again. Unstoppable Force burn. HP on a slither. Grasp it. Is it enough? Little Skater Boy abusing tanks right now. The Bramble Tabai, the full build was too much for Little Skater Boy. Ends up picking up a kill onto Kamika. I mean, yeah, that's just build diff at the moment. Blade of the Rune King was on Jax at that point, by the way. He was a full item ahead. He ends up losing to Balmy, Tabby, Bramble. Oh, sorry, I can't call it Tabby anymore. It's played to Still Caps.
It's Still Caps.
Oh, I'm an old man.
Nah, it's okay. Yeah, it's a boomer brain. It will always be Ninja Tabby to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can see, like once again, the people are just pushing their lane advantages way too hard. Because Kama did have a good advantage in the top side, but he just tried to push for a kill. And maybe he thought he had it, but like the attack speed still from Malphite is too hard.
I think Benny's just a little bit eager with the cleanse right now. I think, you know, judging when to use that spell is going to be really important in these upcoming team fights, because if he does burn that cleanse like that, then he's not going to have it available if he gets hit by an Encore or by another Bubble Pop. And Yeah, just going to be very scary for him. At the same time,
maybe, like,
Kamika's got the sheen now. He's feeling himself. Suddenly thinks he's going to win this. Meanwhile, Little Skater Boy, he's got more stats this time. He's a tankier boy. Just like Jax is going to burn that Grandmaster's Might. Doesn't have his E available now, though. And Little Skater Boy's just going to walk up. Has the grasp available. The Q finishes it off. I mean, this is quite sad to see, especially because of the lead that Kamika built as well. You'd want to see Little Skater Boy be put down a little bit longer, but he's full build.
Yeah, and like you can see, like there was a time where like Little Skater Boy was like 20 CS behind. Now he's only down to like 5, and he's probably gonna accrue that CS back with this wave. And like you can like the Jax had a big advantage with just the push that he did. It gave the Malphite like time. It gave him resources. He could like recall and come back in. Like you're stuck right now on the Jax on the Sheen.
Oh, okay. Looks like Benny's gonna jump in. Oh my god, uses the killer instinct and finds some really lucky crits to pick up Shadow Hopper there. Even after he flashes away. Really good pick onto somebody who again is overextending. We've talked about it multiple times in this game now, but Blazing Midnight and Shadow Hopper have just been playing too aggressive for what their champions can do right now, and you see they're getting punished over and over again.
Maybe they're just reaching maybe they just are accustomed to the comfort that they had last game, and they can just walk in with shields and it'll be okay. But this time you don't have the Ivern, you have a Kindred on your comp, and you need to be more wary because like as you can see, like in the Dragon fight, the damn breastplate doesn't even get activated in time because he got caught off.
And as we're coming into mid game now, Abstract Chaos are looking in a much better spot than they did last game. Not only have they managed to accrue a lead that they wanted onto their champions now, their two main carries are sitting on the largest pools of gold. We're seeing Ari on 6.5k alongside Kaiser being on almost 7k now, which is a 1k gold lead in the mid lane. We're looking at this mid game now. I mean, how do you want to see Cryptication and the rest of his team start to play these fights?
They need to play a standard front to back, because the moment he try to like play the way that they're playing with Shadow Hopper like moving in way too far forward, and you can see like he's moving too far forward again. He got caught by a charm right now.
Absolutely disgusting. Ignite gets burnt and Braum flashes for some reason, but doesn't matter. Bullet burning both summoners there, ends up picking up the kill. Another kill going to JPF there, and this is the thing, yeah. You're right. They're not in the same position they were last game. And you can see Shadow Hopper just trying to clear out vision, but always doing it individually, and they keep getting picked. This time, this should mean third Drake going over. We've got Dragon spawning 15 seconds. Little bit damage going over, but, you know, JPF, even without the Spirit Rush, is a very meaningful threat right now.
Yeah, and you still have the Onslaught of Shadows from the Hecarim, and you have the Jax, who is just running the top lane rampant.
Yeah, at the same time, looks like they're going to give up this Drake, summon mid, and you can see Jax on the top side as well. This is a really good trade option. Unstoppable Force, blend onto JPF. Does have there you go, but the bullet time is fantastic here, but Shadow Hopper getting caught in the mid lane again. They've still got another charge in this Herald. We can see Cryptication and Blazing Midnight and the rest of his team walking through the red side jungle, trying to find a flank on this point, but they get the inhib tower at the same time. Chicken's on this top side. And it's just like all the members are able to walk out for free at the same time, unlocking another tower in the top side.
And they're just growing the gold lead. Right now, they're like 4k gold ahead. Right now, they almost bring it down to 5,500. And like, they're just running the game. They're like almost 5k gold ahead now. And the silver lining for Neverland Voyagers is most of the gold is onto the Misfortune, which is your main carry right now. But like, you can see like the Hecarim has his Divine Thunder. Jax is, with the gold that he got, is one step closer to his own Divine as well. And like, it's just looking really grim with how good they've been playing the team fights and how big the Kaisa is.
Yeah, and honestly, fantastic call out, right? We love to see those kinds of option selects. Instead of choosing to fight for the Drake, because they knew they'd win the fight. They're in a really good spot right now. Fights are almost definitely being handed to them. But instead, they choose to create a really open space and now to set up some vision and play for picks more often through JPF and the rest of his team. And whilst they give up that Drake in return for it, unlocking 5 towers is such a big gold accrual alongside them now having access to all of this space on this top side to be able to create a big vision deficit for Neverland Voyagers to have to sift through before they can get access to Baron.
Indeed, like, and you can see right now that Kami is also going for the bot tier 1, which means they just want to open the map up. And this is where they thrive. Like, the Ahri has got a lot of mobility. Hecarim got his devastating charge, he has his ghost, and like, they just want an open map as much as they could so they can keep on catching Blazing Midnight and they can keep on catching Shadowhopper.
Yeah, and that's the big issue with, I think, Neverland Voyagers draft, right? So that they need these towers to have this sort of safe zone so they can play for, as they try and make a pick onto JPF, as Spirit Blossom gets burnt. He's chunked real low, though. At the same time, Kamaka caught in a 1v2, but you can see the damage is huge. Cryptication has to flash, uses the Lamb's respite, but will he be able to survive, though? Little Skateboy has the Unstoppable Force, does use it to pick up that kill there and save Cryptication from death. Alongside that, they unlock mid tower as well, so this is a really good opening from them.
A little bit of fighting spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now,
and the big thing now is that I was just about to talk about how maybe they would struggle to find picks in an open field like this, but we're seeing that's not the case.
Yeah, they managed to find Kama on his own on the Jax, and it is really the best case scenario where you have the Malphite onto the Jax and also another person. And that was a really good pick. That was really like essential because like you're falling behind and like you're gonna get starved because eventually Abstract Chaos is just gonna keep on invading your jungle, which isn't happening right now. Giftification got the Krugs. He didn't get the Raptors, but he's getting basically every camp in his jungle, even though there's no top tier 1, tier 2. There's not a single tower in mid lane anymore.
So when we're looking, as maybe a little bit pick onto JPF, gives away his position there. But now we're looking at this mid game. We're looking at Cryptication being 4k down. What's their win con? What point are they looking to fight for in the next couple of fights? And how do they win this game?
You can see like by the time that Mountain will be up, which is 1:20, Jax should have his Sunder. And I think Hecarim may or may not have his Sterex at the time, depending on how like much he's catching waves and camps. But yeah, like Cryptification has been denied of marks. He only has 2 so far. And like the main thing is I don't think that they can find the next mountain. Like next mountain is not theirs at all because they won't have their item completions with Abstract Chaos will. So probably they should just like sit back, let them accrue a gold lead. Oh, they're starting Baron.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Baron just get dictated there, given away a little bit by that pink ward, and then Blue Trinket is used to scout it out, and they are going to disengage. But this is the kind of options they have. They pull the Malphite into the top side merely by starting that Baron. Now they're going to find a collective reset because they've got Drake spawning in just under a minute. So really good reset time as this Chicken chooses to path down instead. But big thing now, Neverland Voyagers are on the Dragon first. They get the opportunity to set up that vision first, to create the space to maybe find their own pick. And this Scuttle's going to despawn just as this Dragon's going to be spawning up. We do see a reset for Lil Skater Boy going to respond to that Jax threat, but a big pick. Cleanse Flash immediately burned by Benny there. And no ultimates really burnt. They can go back to the same position. The big issues there in our front line. Charm found onto just absolutely destroyed. Shadowhopper gets burnt. Bullet time thrown in response, but doesn't really have the damage. Hecarim has a huge flank with Onslaught of Shadows, finds a kill onto Blazing Midnight. TP on Kamaka, trying to find the flank, has the stun available, stuns out Envy, picking up another kill with Ram's Fight, just stops it. Envy trying to find a kill into Bullet Time, but isn't able to do it. I keep calling him Bullet Time, but he's just the Bullet 43. Well played from JPF there. Really good response to, once again, Shadowhopper's over-aggression.
Yeah, once again, Shadowhopper is just playing the Nico too aggressively and he's not respecting the charm. And yes, they did good by burning both sums on the Kaisa. But as I said like a minute ago, like it's not their completion, it's not their item completions. Like you can see Ahri has 2 items. Kaisa is really huge. She has both Phantom Dancer and Kraken and Last Whisper. Like you aren't in a position to contest this, not in the current state. And like yeah, Shadowhopper is just 1-8. He's just like beating them at this rate.
And I think JPF's done a really good build adapt here as they're taking the Baron, because I don't think this contest is going to happen. Really good build adapt to identify his role in the fight. He's gone straight into the Cosmic Drive second, which obviously is a regular staple item in the AP builds right now, but it's really good here specifically because he is just fishing for charms. He is a CC bot. He is serving his team for picks. He is not the individual carry, and this item functions fantastically with that. Alongside with this Oblivion Orb that he's just picked up, he's going to really minimize any potential out options that the enemy team has if he does make the pick first.
Indeed, and you can see right now, look at the items, like there's a Lord Dominic's that is completed on the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's on 3 items. Jax has completed his Divine, and Hecarim has his Terex as well, and he's like getting a Chain Vest, which means he's probably going into Deadman's. And like, yeah, you are not in a position to fight right now. You just need to wait for the soul point, and that's probably gonna be your do or die fight.
And that's the big issue, right? Is these fights that they've had so far, they've continually fought over, even though they're not in a position to do so.
Yeah, like the last mountain fight, like yes, you got the summoners, but like I think this was the closest that they had. But like, if it wasn't for Shadowhopper just like getting caught off, they probably would have had a much better chance playing a stable front to back like engage. But the point is, Shadowhopper got caught again. They can't seem to find the good Nico engage, and you never really see him fighting front to back in most of the fights.
Yeah, and JPF's going to stance for another pick now. At the same time, I think that's the bigger issue, right? Is that Jax is always in this side lane. Malphite's never really able to be at the start of a fight. Kamika just going to look to pick up this bot side tower now, as red side are really positioning for quite a strong offensive here. 3 lanes being pressured at the same time. Baron pressuring up this top tower to see what the response is. Unstoppable Force into the bullet time. Fantastic pick onto Benny. The Zhonya's isn't going to be enough, or is it? Able to dash out with the but no, gets picked up by Cryptication there. At the same time, Kamika and Chicken pressuring up the spot tower. Kamika's tanking this tower, falling really low here. Does dash out, left on a slither. At the same time, Chickens also ends up tanking it. They're not going to pick up this tower yet. Really good pick onto Dick and Bull Benny. But the bot side tower does end up going down. That killer instinct wasn't enough to get away. Fantastic space created, but they are now down 3 inhib down.
Yes, like you have got the openings in inhibitor, but what cost? He just gave Kindred 1,000 gold, and Kindred is gonna be the secondary carry in this team. And like you can see, like he instantly bought a BF sword there, and that is absolutely enormous. And I don't know how many marks. Like Kindred has 3 marks right now, which is like it is really low for like 28-minute game, but like at the very least is better than nothing. And like you're just giving them windows, because right now you have 1:30 on this mountain, and all the waves of Black Chaos are pushing into Neverland. And like if they can just get completed one more item on the Kindred, or like another item on like on anyone, that is really as close as they need to be. Because like you can see, like Flash is coming back up for the Kai'Sa. Like you almost have full sums on both teams, aside from the Malphite Flash.
Oh, Spirit Rush Blunt, trying to pick onto Envy, finds the charm. Electrocute plus the Q could be enough, but Lamb's Respite does up burning up. Edge pretty low. Gonna use the Stopwatch as well. Stopwatch down now for Envy, alongside with that Lamb's Respite. It's a really easy option now. The strike spawning in under a minute for Chicken to try and make a pick.
And just picking off the heal for basically free, because the Spirit Rush is gonna come back on time for the mountain is really big.
Yeah, another reason that the Cosmic Drive is such a good pickup. A little bit of vision being cleared by Shadowhopper and the rest of his team, but JPF, he's looking for it. Oh, a little bit of damage being put onto JPF, but he doesn't really care. Knows his role in the fight. Jax pushing up that top side wave, going to get on the scuttle and stop Cryptication from picking up another potential mark as his strike spawning now in 40 seconds.
Yeah, and you can see like Kamika is going topside. He has TP, but you can also see like Lil Skater Boy is matching him. But is the match the best choice?
But Lil Skater Boy feels stuck between a rock and a hard place. Does end up TPing into the fight. But they need to start this fight immediately, because Kamika's in such a good spot to open up the base here. He's on this top inhib right now. If the fight isn't found immediately, they can unlock the rest of them as well, and you can see this rotation. They'll give up the Drake, they'll get this mid pressure in ahead instead even, and maybe Bullet Time can reset a couple of resets. Yeah, Nico's reset gets stopped.
Yeah, but Nico isn't really the most pressuring recall, but if they can find the pick and JP seems to be going for it, he lands a charm, and yeah, Shadowhopper is done.
Oh, Pop Blossom gets burnt alongside with the Zhonya's, does find the stun, but just not enough damage. Support versus mid lane. JPF gets popped real low, just not enough though, and another kill fouled onto Shadowhopper. Baron's up in 1 minute, boys. Probably going to see a walkthrough, get some vision on that side, probably for both teams, or hopefully for both teams even, as Kamika looks to push in this mid wave. And it's going to be so hard for Neverland Voyagers to contest this Baron, now that both of these top and mid waves are going to be pushing into them.
Yeah, a 7k gold lead, and you have 2 side and the mid and side lanes that are just pushing in super minions. And like, are you really in a position to contest this? Because what if you just try to contest and Kamaka already has the inhibitor down? He can just run down through the lane with super minions. So like, they're putting themselves in a really good position, which means like Envy has to do like the impossible. They have to fight a really clean fight. They have to land a good encore. They have to land a good Pop Blossom. And like, yeah, like, where do you go from now? Because as you can see, like, Abstract Chaos is just setting up and they're gonna start the Baron, and they have a lot of damage with the Kaisa. And
very true. Gonna see some vision cleared out as Chicken and the rest of his team are gonna start this Baron now. JPF playing exactly the same role that we've seen him so far in these fights. Shadow gonna switch into a different role. He might be looking for a little bit of a flank here. Cryptication plays quite aggressive. Immediately stunned out though. Shadow Hellbound to pop that pop some early. Pick onto Braum is big, but the Baron does end up getting picked up. Kamaka finding a really big stun as placing mid-light, getting chunked low. Lavisher Spike being burnt, but they're so mixed apart. Envy's still alive, not for long though. JPF finds another charm at the same time. Kaiser, Dick and Bull Benny finding some really big DPS onto Lil Skater Boy, and this is just game 3 or 4. Now, yeah, complete ace by Benny there to complete the game. 5 for 2. What a fantastic fight.
Yeah, and as he said, like, they're just really far ahead, and Lambert's fight wasn't enough because it was too, like, scattered up. Like, Cryptication is the Lambert's fight, but only in himself. He didn't really protect Envy, he didn't protect Shadowhopper or Blaze in Midnight, and it was just a really good execution, like, throughout the game from Abstract Chaos. They just put their foot on the pedal, got their early leads with solo kills in the mid lane, they never stopped from there.
Absolutely, and yeah, what a standout, especially a standout performance from JPF then. I think the bans must have been so huge. Being able to get JPF on a champion he's comfortable on to create that kind of early game lead without being mitigated by that lane counter pick was such a huge thing because he was constantly creating picks and finding ways to build a lead for his team. Fantastic macro play as well from Abstract Chaos to unlock those towers as early as possible and to really create what we saw, which is basically a no-win con for Neverland Voyagers, because no matter what, they were losing somewhere. Either they're losing an inhib, or they're losing the Drake, or they're losing the inhib towers. Yeah, fantastically played from Abstract Chaos there. We're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll come back to you in 5. Hello, guys, and welcome back to week 3 of Div 3 of Valence League. We're going into the third game now between Abstract Chaos and Neverland Voyagers. A really good back and forth between these teams so far. Game 1, we saw an amazing counter comp come out from Neverland Voyagers, and we saw them draft again the same way in Game 2. Game 1, they had a landslide victory. Their comp was way too strong in the mid game with this kind of counter engage with the shield and comp they drafted. They tried to go for the same thing game 2, but we saw JPF have a fantastic performance in Ari. And alongside the pressure that Chicken and the rest of his team was able to create, they got incredibly ahead and maximized their lead as much as possible in the early game and really took best advantage of a comp like that. So now we're coming into Game of 3, Demise. How do we think Neverland Voyagers want to draft now? Because they've drafted relatively similar. Game 1, they landslide. Game 2, they ended up actually losing quite readily. So what are we looking for now to really maybe even minimize how much impact JPF can have on this game?
I mean, the way you look at it is that they're going to do the same thing probably with the bans. Because probably add just the Ari ban, just because they're going to be scared of JPF running the map around with the Spirit Rush. But it will be that there's two angles that like Neverland can go with this. They can go either, okay, we did a few mistakes that threw the game off. We pushed our lead way too hard when we didn't need to, like the way that they dived in bot lane, they were over eager for vision. And they can say, okay, just take it back, slower lane, don't put Seraphine in the lane where she is suffocated in. And just do the same comp, but this time like with a little less aggression and a little less eagerness to take the initiative early on. Or they can just like change the way that they play with full 180, because like you can say like they are open to like trying stuff. Like they tried the Malphite, and yes, the Malphite like fell a little bit behind to the Jax early on, but in the mid game he just like didn't let the Jax breathe.
Yep.
Same
Big
thing
thing to talk
with,
about
like,
so far is that Red Side is currently 100% win rate.
Yeah.
So both teams that have been on Red Side have won. I think a big thing has been this B1 pick, right? B1 in game 1, they ended up picking something not so relevant, and even with the Seraphine in game 2, ended up being flexed into the mid lane and punished quite readily. So what do you want to see coming in now?
I mean, right now from ABC, I think I'll just love to see a flex pick. Maybe even a Viego, if they're capable of bringing that. Because like with their style, like I think Viego would fit much more than the Hecarim, the comp that they ran in game 2.
Absolutely. Just look, the Hecarim's going to be picked up again, though. Chicken obviously felt very comfortable in their champion. And it does really accentuate their goals, which, again, is creating this kind of first 15, 20-minute lead. Counter pick for jungle, for Cryptication now. And then alongside that, they will have to blind pick a lane.
Indeed. And the Volibear is being hovered, which is also a flex pick that can go both jungle and top lane. And he's being logged in, and you can see maybe they're trying to answer for them, because Volibear is also known to be really impressive in this early to mid game like period.
Yeah, Volibear definitely very strong in both top and jungle. At the same time, Tristana possibly hovered, and when you're looking at the first rotation of your picks, AD carries always pops up, especially picking something high priority. I think Trist functions really well here, right? Because she has a flex. You get other picks like Ezreal that can come through. We've seen Ziggs be really popular in recent games with those AB item changes. So I'm wondering if we'll see any priority on that.
I mean, right now you've seen probably a top jungle pick, and you already have logged in your jungle. And if you're ABC, you want to show ADC as well, but maybe show another flex pick here in the third pick, so you don't show too much. Or you don't give the red side 2 counter picks, because they already have a single counter pick with the final pick. And you don't want just to give him a second one by picking like the support here. And you just like doom your bot lane. Because they can easily just rotate Tristana and another thing. And Cassiopeia hover. And it's
very aggressive from JPF then. Really trying to show his prowess in this mid lane matchup. Picking the Cassio. And what this does, though, this kind of locks him into what kind of comp they want to do, right?
Yeah,
because Cassio is definitely alongside this Ezreal, they're really looking for counter engage, and Hecarim doesn't really function very well with that.
I mean, they're either gonna look for like zone control and picks, and the Malzahar counter engage is really good. It's really good.
This kind of pick is going to function really well with the team they've got, right? Because Triss really ready to have access to free damage to pump out, readily has it available. And alongside with that Volibear, I mean, mid suddenly, has become a really volatile lane, because if Casio falls behind even slightly, Volibear and Malzahar are going to create some really easy situations to kill that champion over and over again. At the same time now, heading back into bans, reminded that after these bans, we are going to see Neverland Voyagers have access to another pick after this. They're going to ban out the Jax and maybe another top lane ban as well, because they probably want to put Lil Skateboy in a very good spot coming to this game, because last game, early game, suffered a little bit. Mid game came online. They obviously know Lil Skate. Maybe they feel like Lil Skateboy does have access to outplaying Kamikaze here, and maybe they can look to get him in on it.
Yeah, and you can see like both teams know what they want. Like top lane want a little skater boy to have an easier time if he's gonna have the Volibear top lane or whatever he's gonna counter pick with last pick. But in the same time, they want to make sure that in ABC slide that like Benny has a good time with his Ezreal, so they're trying to like lessen the supports that can go in on the Ezreal, that go in the immobile Casio, and that is really dangerous. And they can see like they're banning the Malphite. They just don't want to be engaged upon, and they're making sure that the Volibear doesn't have as good as a follow-up as he should have.
Absolutely. And yeah, Benny going to be sitting comfortably here now with those two champions taken away. Still a couple of support picks, though, that I still see quite a lot of priority. Thresh is a big one, obviously, that we haven't seen this series so far. We are seeing Rakan locked in for Shadow Hopper. So this does get the opportunity for... I mean, we know it's going to be this Triss Rakan bot lane, right? They said at the top lane counter pick, or the jungle counter pick if they wish to do so. And this Triss Rakan has a lot of space to create pick pressure, even onto the Ezreal, because Rakan has that extended engage range. And so now it's, the emphasis is on bullet to counter pick, and I think the Braum actually functions really well here.
Yeah, the Braum makes sure that at least you try to interrupt the grand entrance from Rakan. And that is really important, because at least if he lands on the Braum and the Braum lands the Q, then you have a good window. Because Ezreal is really one of the better lanes with Braum, because you can quickly like proc the stun. And then like you have a good bot lane right here, no matter like how you look at it, unless they flex the Tristana mid lane and then they throw somebody else in the AD carry position. But right now, like you can see, like it's the NLV, they just go in for a full team fight comp, and Lunar even. They just want to jump in on the Casio and just eliminate her from the game.
Yeah. And we're seeing now, I think, a bit of a pivot from Abstract Chaos's previous drafts. This comp is much more scale dependent. It's much more less early game focused. They're really looking towards Ezreal 2 items, Casio on that, that passive point where she gets the free movement speed. A lot of pressure on Chicken to make sure to mitigate some of the lane leads that could be accrued, because Nard definitely has pressure in his lane. Malzahar is an easy way for Cryptication to play through and to try and find leads. And Triss Rakan has, I think, a pretty good matchup into Ezreal Braum.
Yeah, Triss Rakan, they're really looking forward to the level 2 fight. Like, because the level 2 fight can just tip the lane forever, and now Ezreal suddenly can exist. And that is going to be probably the biggest point of the early game. Because, like, mid lane, like, unless there is some, like, major flaw in the laning of the early phase of either, there's no chance. Chicken can't really get a gank off. Cryptification probably can get a gank off just with the Casio Q that gives her movement speed. And like, yeah, like the biggest thing right now is that the Gnar has a really good lane against the Shen. He got the counter pick off. And you just want to see how bot lane goes. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of focus from both junglers in the bot lane. And eventually, once Cryptification has his ultimate and is able to dive, maybe they can go dive the Shen.
Absolutely. A lot of ways for Volibear to play through this early game. I think the big thing is looking at how strong each teams are at 6. Because that's when the counter engage for Abstract Chaos gets unlocked. But at the same time, we're seeing a lot of the aggression from Neverland Voyagers really manifest once they have access to that to their Nether Grasp, to Volibear's ultimate being able to knock down those towers and suppress them for a brief period of time to maybe look for some dives, right? So there's going to be a lot of back and forth between these teams, and there's a lot of play in this early game. The big thing is, how do you think Cryptication plays through in the first 3 minutes of the game? Do you think he has the opportunity to double scuttle? Because obviously with this kind of comp, this is what he's going to be looking for with the Prio in his lanes.
Yeah, he's probably going to have Prio on both side lanes, and probably Malzahar as well. Unless, like, it depends on how JPF knows the Malzahar matchup. Because to deny Malzahar Prio, you need to make sure you kill his Voidlings ASAP.
Yeah.
And I don't know if JPF can know this or not, depending on how he plays the laning phase. And that just like creates this dynamic where if like JPF is the one that has probably a mid lane, now you're gonna have like this like mini skirmish where like it's gonna be either side lane with Cassio, and like it's gonna be Chicken and Cryptification fighting for the scuttles. But for the most part, I think Cryptification is gonna have a much easier time securing the scuttles than Chicken will.
Absolutely. Going to be a feisty little early game, especially around this bot side, right? This Tristana loves to fight level 1, level 2. With that rocket belt available, rocket belt? Rocket jump?
Rocket jump.
Rocket jump. There we go. With the rocket jump available. So there's, I think, you know, we're going to see some back and forth. I would be surprised to see Cryptication not try and play through this bot side as much as possible, because I think Trist and Rakan really is that area where they're going to build that lead. Outside of Malzahar having the grasp available at level 6, this is the kind of lane he wants to function through, because Malzahar is not a solo carry threat. Nara is not a solo carry threat, but Trist definitely is. And then on the counter side, Abstract Chaos now, they've got a really... Once they get into this mid game, especially once Cassio gets 4+ items, their carries are really going to evolve. There's a lot of pressure in Kamika and the Bullet to maintain safety on these carries coming into mid game, so that Cassio and Ezreal can easily hit 3-4 items.
Indeed, and the thing is, like, you can look at the comp, like, both of them has good answers to each other, because eventually Malzahar is going to second item pivot into a Crystal Scepter. And that is really going to, like, make it a really bad time for Chicken. But yeah, he has the window where he can, like, try to, like, move around, like, the mid lane and try to go for bot lane engage as well. Because it is all going to be about the bot lane in the first 6 levels. Like, Shen is probably going to struggle a little bit, but unless Skater Boy, like, finds a solo kill, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Cassio Malzahar, I can see Malzahar is probably going for TP with Aerie. It's not the usual. Like, most people right now play Malzahar with Comet, which means he's probably going to go for a lot of more auto-attack harass. So you can feel that maybe Blazing Midnight is going to also, like, try to find something in mid lane.
And that itself kind of creates a little bit of fear, because JPF was so strong in game 1. So there's a lot that there's now some pressure on Blazing Midnight to make sure that he doesn't, you know, fall down in the first 6 levels. And that Aerie puts a little bit more, you know, with the Comet, it's a lot easier to activate that without really getting into a melee fight. But if Cassio finds her Q and she starts finding some consistent trades, especially if she's able to consistently knock down Malzahar's passive, then this could be an issue. This could be a building block for JPF to really come in strong on the mid game. Anyway, gonna have a quick pause as we're coming into game here, boys. Gonna be pausing at 10 seconds real quick, then we'll be able to properly dedicate our time to you guys. Anyway, yep.
Yes.
Great. Going to be heading into game 3, boys, of Abstract Chaos versus Neverland Voyagers. On the blue side, we have Abstract Chaos with Kamika in the top lane, Chicken in the jungle, JPF in the mid lane, Dick and Bull Benny, God I love you, in AD carry, and the Bullet 43 in support. And then on the red side, we can have Neverland Voyagers. There's a little bit of trading happens in the mid lane. Would you like to introduce the Neverland Voyagers for us, Demise?
Okay, and Neverland Voyagers, they have Little Skater Boy in top lane on the Nard. They have Cryptification with the Volibear in the jungle. And they have Blazing Midnight with the Malzahar and MB and Shadowhopper in bot lane with Tristana Rakan.
Fantastic. And we're going to see a little bit of starting. Blazing Midnight trying to find some trades onto the Cassio early game. Both yellow trinkets used by the junglers. And actually, Bullet ends up using his yellow trinket this time to scout out that vision on the top side. Going to walk straight back down to his lane, though. Little Skater Boy. Kamika tries to find a Warden Tribush. Interesting. It's going to be able to be called out, which means potential ganks could happen in the top lane in the first 3 minutes now, because Kamika's going to be down that lane, that ward. Maybe a little bit of lane minute by Little Skater Boy can create
and,
that.
And they spotted Chicken on blue buff from the ward in the Tribush, or the Pixel Bush in the top lane. So that
fantastic.
that also gives them like the knowledge that Chicken is probably going to path into bot side as well.
Yeah, Volibear does love a 6 camp. He wants to finish up on the Krugs before he heads up for that scuttle. So gonna suffer a little bit maybe if he gets spotted out on those Tribush. Give a Chicken a lot of information coming to the early jungle. Cassio getting a bit of a trade in as Cryptification pulls both camps at the same time. Standard affair nowadays. At the same time, just look like Dick and Bull Benny and the Bullet gonna get a quick shove in on the spot side. pressure up just slightly with that little level 1 lead, with Ezreal having access to his arcane phase bullet thing. Thank you, that's it. I was going to say arcane shift, but that's his E. Yeah. Anyway, both level 2 unlocked for mid lane. Just kind of seeing some regular stand-up normal stuff here. Yeah, but JPF, look at this. And this is the kind of thing we were talking about. JPF's going to be able to really easily find a lead if he's able to consistently hit that Noxus Blast and then get a couple of Twink Fangs out. And you can see him abusing it here. Big thing is, he's not running that TP. And he did end up buying that tier. So whilst he's going to have access to a little bit more mana in the first couple of levels, that Doran's ring sustain is going to help out Blazing Midnight a lot more if the laning phase is extended outwards.
Yeah, but you can see JPF knows how to deal with the Malzahar. He's always killing with Void Rings as soon as he can. And that denies a lot of the wave clear of the Malzahar.
Well, that's a big thing in this matchup, actually, is that Cassio E does just default kill them. And you get, with the Twin Fangs being available, if nobody's aware, Twin Fang does end up actually picking up mana on kill if you do end up being a target. So she's going to be able to consistently refill her mana pool even slightly, using that Twin Fang 2 last here. At the same time, gank coming in mid, recamp coming out from Cryptication. Uses the shield. JPF really smartly there, using the Noxus Blast combined with those Twin Fangs to proc her phase rush and just walk out of that gank then. This is a bit of pressure, and this also means that now JPF's shown 4 camps into that gank. So Chicken going to be able to pick up that boss side scuttle for free, and Blazing Midnight's in a really tough spot at the moment.
Indeed, and like you can see, at least he has DP to bail him out of the first recall, but then like post that, what's gonna happen for him? Because as you can see, JPF just seems to be ruling over the mid lane. It's a mid gap the whole time. But yeah, like bot lane has both recall.
Oh, taunt coming out and a bit of a chunk, but little Skateboy should be able to find the return damage, transforming into Mega at just the right time. And yeah, Blazing Midnight's in a really bad spot at the moment. I think the best thing he can do is try and find a reset at the appropriate time to come back into lane and pressure JPF off. And this is the perfect time right now. Use the pressure that Cryptication and Shadow Hopper are finding. Get your reset now and trying to desperately lose. Trying to clear the wave. Just reset, buddy. Go back.
he just doesn't want us to can.
Go home. Go home and
teleport, yeah.
And you can see, because he tried to shut the wave now. Cassie has a fantastic response to that. She can choose to freeze and force Blazing Midnight's TP and just wait there and last hit with Twin Fang and build up a little bit of that mana and just sustain through the lane.
Yeah, and you can see he's just thinning the wave enough to the point where it doesn't insta-shove into his tower, but it also comes back into him.
Anyway, gonna see Ezreal and Braum kind of mitigating a lot of response that this lane does have. By big trade onto JPF though, and this isn't the really the place he wants to be. You can see lacking a little bit of mana, but yeah, Dick and Ball Benny and the Bullet doing a really good job of mitigating this Trist Rakan's early game by just shoving in. Best thing you can do in a lane when you're being hard pressured out, just shove the wave in, and you can see a little bit of CS created as Shen and Nah just going to trade bonks for a little bit.
Yeah, and as you can see, since Cryptification had to like bail out Blazing Midnight a few times, he hasn't been able to like pressure the side lanes, which are the strong points of like the draft for Voyagers in the early game. Like Neverland Voyagers are just kind of like chilling back now, in the lanes they're supposed to have the advantage in.
Yeah, and now that JPF has found a reset, it's going to be the same situation as before. This lane's going to be honestly probably more heavy favored towards his Cassio if she's able to find consistent trades like this. You can see the damage is just disgusting. Until Malzahar has access to that lost chapter and can start to repeatedly shut these waves. And you can see, I think Blazing Midnight looks kind of lost right now.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing he can do right now is just to not press his E on the wave at all. Just let it shove into him. Try to clear it out with Voidlings and your Dark Passage. No, Malefic Visions. On your just under tower. Instead of like, look at what he's doing now. He's missing a lot of CS just by letting the wave sit in the middle.
Oh, JPF Chicken going for an early Drake. Really good kind of choice to be taken here. I think Cloud's also one of the hardest dragons to be taken early game because of its DPS. So they picked it up, put it on Chicken early, and I think that does benefit their comp. They're looking to get... I think both teams are looking to contest Soul Point as quickly as possible.
Indeed, and since it's Ocean second, that means it's, again, either Inferno or Mountain for the Soul. And that, like, the perspective of just having Inferno Drake or Inferno Soul on either teams is really big, especially on the Cassio. It seems just to be running the game now. And like, yes, Blazing Midnight right now, he does have his Nether Grasp, but is that gonna be like enough to shut down JPF? Because JPF has like a 15 CS lead. He has his lost chapter. He has 150 stacks on a steer of mana. And like, how is like Neverland Voyagers are gonna respond to the Casio being so big?
Indeed. Looking a little bit rough in the mid lane as we see Shadow Hopper and Envy just kind of chilling in lane right now. Both supports shaking hands, going to trade some siege last hits here. Get their share going. And yeah, I think Shadow Hopper may be a little bit scared now to engage on this lane just because you don't see Hecarim right now. Vision's very limited unlike the first couple of games in this early game. And JFP, disgusting damage, uses the ulti. Flash forward, but the Malefic Vision's under the tower. Doesn't even matter though. The Shen ultimate coming out on top of that. TP coming in. We'll get taunted out of this. And you can... Oh! Okay, the taunt missed. Little Skater Boy flashes forward and ends up picking a counter kill. So kill going towards Cassia Boy, but Little Skater Boy, what a really nice TP response.
Yeah, he just swerved the taunt, dude. Like, you can see, like, the way that he, like, took a little bit step, he just sidestepped it, like, instantly after TPing with extra movement speed. Maybe it's a little bit of mistiming from Kama on the Shen. But, like, yeah, the trade was really important. Because, yes, Midnight right now is behind, but that gives a lot more, like, agency to Nord to, like, control the lane more.
Yeah, I think
you can see
the
like
big
Kama
thing with those kinds of fights, right, is you need to be talking about it as quickly as possible. As we see a little bit of fighting happening in the top lane, because if JFP and both Blazing Midnight are calling that earlier, then the Shen ulti comes out earlier and the Gnar TP comes out earlier. So we'd receive that response that much quicker. And I mean, who knows how it play out? Either way, kill ends up going over to Casio, and she's looking. You can see she's just JFP really trying to abuse Blazing Midnight. Definitely sensing a bit of a mid diff in this series. At least over these last two games, and, and definitely trying to punish
Midnight
that.
is just way too eager to push the wave, so he can let it come into him.
Yeah, and that's the big thing with this kind of matchup. Malzahar isn't a lane-focused champion. He's very focused on wave control, making sure to maximize the CS in the first 15 minutes of the game, and he's kind of struggling, right?
Yeah, and his Nether Grasp is almost back up, and it's almost in time for the second Drake. So, like, yeah, you have 2 minutes in the second Drake, you have Herald, and you have a good, like, lane dynamic in top lane, which means Herald could be your move, and you can see Shadow Hoppers also, like, moving into mid lane. And they can orchestrate a 4-man dive if they want to, but yeah, like, you can see Cryptification is just seeming to be angling around it. Are they gonna go for it?
A little bit of trading happening in the mid lane. They go for the triple kill onto mid lane. Ignite burn. Malefic Visions ends up not picking up that kill as Cryptification comes in with the Stormbringer picking up that kill. That's 3 ultimates and 2 summoners burnt to pick up the Casio there, but ripe in time for a possible skirmish on this boss side. And it's going to give a lot of space to the Blazing Midnight to, I think, correctly punish JPF's a little bit, or I say little, quite over-aggression.
Indeed, and like that is the thing with Casio. You don't have an out, and yes, maybe if you're in a 1v1, and Midnight tries another grasp you, you can just like petrifying gaze him back, and that interaction is really gross, by the way. Because like Malzahar is immediately stunned unless he has his Void Shift. But yeah, like he couldn't do anything. Like Cryptification just ulted. There's a quickness plus Grand Entrance from Shadow Hopper, and while that like put less pressure on Benny and the Bullet in bot lane, but they got something going on. They stalled them Casio for a little bit. They're even in CS right now with Midnight.
And the best part about that is the fact that Malzahar doesn't really want the gold, right? This gold, generally, they want to put it on the Volibear and the Tristana to bring in a lot more, to bring this late game in earlier for the Trist and to give Volibear an opportunity to extend the gold in the rest of the map. And we're kind of seeing that here.
Yeah, indeed. And like a kill on Volibear is really big because Volibear needs a lot of gold and a lot of levels to be like as oppressive as he wants to be. And you can see like
seeing double Tabai built by both Gnar and Volibear. What are your thoughts on that?
I have no idea. Like the only auto attack threat you have is the Ezreal. And meanwhile, you have the CC of the Shen taunt. You had the bomb stun. You have like the
all of Casio CC as well, right? Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, it seems kind of like a little bit of a misplay to not itemize maybe instead into Bramble, and then build the Merc Shreds to you know get access to that tenacity.
Maybe even Lucidity boost in the Volibear. That could have worked quite well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like...
Anyway, Bullet going to clear out some vision along this mid side. Definitely trying to buff up JPF now that they've realized that he's going to be one of the main targets going into the first 15 minutes of this game. At the same time, Shadowhopper just running back to his lane. Gonna maybe hopefully catch some vision of himself. Red Trinket currently up. Yep, does spot out that vision. And game's kind of neutralizing just a little bit. As we see the gold lead is currently neck and neck. 2 kills obviously going over to Cryptication and Lil Skater Boy. But CS deficits have made it so that it doesn't really... no gold lead has actually been found. Cloud Drake onto Abstract Chaos, and then the Ocean Drake onto Neverland Voyagers. Both Drakes which benefit their comp greatly.
Yeah, but I mean...
big thing is we're going to see the summon on the bot tower. I hate seeing summons like this, but it should end up giving a couple of... some trading happens in the mid lane at the same time. Fantastic usage, you just mentioned it. But the DPS is too high, it doesn't even matter. Petrifying Gaze perfectly cancels the Nether Grass, but Blazing Midnight goes, no, I out-stat check you. And uses the lead, has the damage, and absolutely just demolishes her in damage.
Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how high the lethal is on Malzahar right now with just the on-breeze plus either Sork Shoes. Or even if you just go Rylai second, you don't need a lot of AP to just out-stat check a lot of mid laners right now. And I think that JPF just didn't respect the Nether Grasp enough.
And this is the kind of thing you want to see. If JPF's going to push his pressure so much, try and play for these lane dominant champions. Blazing Midnight has the response to that. It's like, okay, I want to pick a champion that doesn't really require a lot of micro choice. I'm just going to wait for my itemization changes and punish you before that. And we're seeing it there. Fantastic solo kill into mid lane. And they're summoned whilst using bot side to catch a couple of plates, right? Split between 3 people, and it doesn't unlock first tower. And the whole usage of Scuttle should always be after the first 2 plates have been taken, because that gives you access to the harder plates that are to take, and then the possibility of unlocking tower 2.
Yeah, because even after using the Herald, they're still even on gold, which shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Like, then again, it's...
Volleybear's looking for a gank though. We do see Rakan burning the quickness, trying to find the knock-up onto the Brom, gets the knock-up, Bullet being down, Shen ulti coming in, Stand United burn, Envy alive though, but looks like Cryptication and Envy get chunked so low, they have to walk out. And we saw, the Cryptication just wasn't fast enough to catch Ezreal, managed to flash E out of there, and at the same time a fantastic response by Shen with the Stand United to make sure that nobody dies.
I think it was a good engage, but the option should have always been to just burn the Braum before the Shen ults in.
Yep.
Instead of gumping on the Ezreal. Because yes,
at least,
Ezreal...
Chicken's getting chunked out though, but he will have the Mega Knight available. Or at the same time, JFP's caught out in quite a tough spot. Does have the Nether Grass, once again cancels it, but the damage is so high at the same time. Looks like, oh my god, Lil Skater Boy trying to find a 1v2 here. Kamikawa is back up to top lane and Chicken's there too. You can see Ghost Burn, he's on 200 HP. Gonna turn into Mini Nart any second now. Lil Skater Boy managing to walk out of there, pulling up so much pressure at the same time. Blazing Midnight and Cryptication unlocking first tower on that mid tower. What a set of events.
Yeah, and I think Blazing Midnight time has just come. Like, you cannot just stand toe-to-toe with the Malzahar at this point of the game with the Cassio.
It's one of these key champions that just functions so well in 5s when it finds this kind of gold point, right? Because you need to punish this early game hard enough. We saw JFP trying to do it, but the team wasn't on board, didn't find the lead big enough, and now she's gone from entirely dominating lane to 1-4.
Yeah, it's just how it happens when they try to push an advantage without, like, being secure about it, because Shadowhopper had a free reign to, like, triple dive you in mid lane. And like Cryptification bailed out like Blazing Midnight a few times without any response from Chicken, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, this is the big thing. This isn't the fault of JPF here. This is a larger macro misplay by the side of Abstract Chaos for not punishing the Malzahar appropriately or playing alongside JPF's aggression. Because JPF is correct to play that aggressive. He just needs to play alongside with his team with that.
Okay, Chicken
at the same
going
time.
In.
Yeah, but he has the shield available. That passive, the Void Shift, gonna block out any CC and get to walk away scot-free. Got Drake up right now, Infernal Drake, which means it is an Infernal Soul, very exciting soul to be looking for. And Abstract Chaos are the first people on the Dragon.
And this is a really good position because Cassio can just put a Miasma On the
matter though. Oh, okay. Chicken gets engaged on Rakan with the quickness, and JPF, he just gets caught at the same time. Looks like the DPS, Envy, and Lil Skater Boy engaging onto the bullet. He's going to try and walk out, but gets knocked up by the Rakan, and another kill going across. You can see there, it's just they're two split. Onslaught of Shadows doesn't save Chicken there from, you know, having his team picked off, and Infernal Drake for free alongside with 2 kills onto really important key members of the fight.
And this Skater Boy just used the Gnar just to push the Ezreal away.
I mean, just in case, right? I think I love it. It's a good usage of the ulti, the fact that it's such a low cooldown.
Yeah, but like you can see, like in the Dragon fight, like the Shen and the Braum, which are the main disengage, are like sitting in the red side
of the map, right? Yeah, exactly.
And like your immobile Cassio is like stranded.
Absolutely, and they didn't have the Stand United available because they burned that earlier on the boss side. So no real safety given to the core members of the group. This Cassio and the Headcomb, and they get punished for it. And Malzahar, look at the damage. He's so strong now.
He's like going in for sword boots as well. He doesn't want to go in for like the flash nether plate. He just want to make sure that he has the lethal to like bully you out of it. And you can see, like it's almost like third of the HP bar of a Cassio that has the sustain just with 2 Qs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think Midnight really showing his prowess on the pick right now. At the same time, we're seeing a pretty significant lead. You know, the 2K, Flash, Malefic Grasp, and the Shenalty gets burned alongside with the Onslaught of Shadows, but he misses the knock-up onto Blazing Midnight. Will he be able to walk out? Chicken's DPS probably too high. Flash Taunt misses. It doesn't matter, though. 450 gold being given away to Chicken there. Yeah, just over-aggression from Blazing Midnight there without really respecting the fact that, you know, they have these tools to really punish that kind of aggression.
Yeah, you could just fill off and let your team take the Herald.
Exactly, you're Malzahar. It's not your role. It doesn't matter though, because they end up trading bot tower and a kill for that Herald to be able to unlock the top tower here. Please don't burn it here though, because they get the tower anyway. Yep, this time they're just going to hold on to it now.
1500 gold lead right now to NVL.
But the big thing is this gold lead is so much more important for them right now because they are focused around this kind of mid-game fighting. And so this gold lead, while small right now, you know, that under 2k gold lead is going to be a really easy way for them to try and find kills, considering they are almost an item up right now on a couple of players.
Yeah, and you have the Herald right now, and there's like an Infernal coming in almost 3 minutes, and like Shen is getting caught off.
It's just destruction here. Kamakai just gets caught out entirely. Over aggression. You know, he doesn't even have the TP available. No flash because he burns it early alongside with the Stand United and given away for free.
Indeed, and it has been like what's been happening since game 2. Like you have the advantage. Like you've just got the tower. You've just got the kill on the Malzahar. You don't need to overexert the advantage that you have.
Dickenball Benny being a little cheeky there, cancelling the recall, but looks like Shadow's going to find it anyway. Is he though? At the same time, looks like Cryptication is not having any of that. Can't cancel my recalls. It's a don't worry about it. Has to burn the ulti out as the quickness comes out. Exhaust onto Shadow Hopper there. And also Shadow come back out though. Looks like Cryptication might get caught. Shen TP's in. So many summoners burnt for no reason, but the fight is null. No team really comes out on top. Might give Abstract Chaos though the opportunity to unlock this mid tower.
I mean, I don't think the mid tower is like that valuable for their team comp because you don't want to fight in open spaces. Mainly like what Abstract is looking forward right now is just to have like fights in rivers or in the jungle where they can have the choke points where the Miasma can just control it and the Petrifying Gaze can control it.
A little bit of aggression onto Skater Boy, but he's just gonna skid away. And yeah, even with this mid tower not holding too much importance, they kind of hold on to it anyway. Does give a little bit of safety when they're creating some vision. Stop, you know, the bullet and Chicken from extending that vision line upwards too much. And now they got Blazing back here as well, which is important because he's such an easy wave clear control option for their team. You know, Triss kind of suffers a little bit in aspects. She needs to find that explosive bomb. Make sure that she can get some wave clear going.
Yeah, and she needs a few bit more levels just to be a little bit safer. Because right now she's only level 11. Like the range she gets, the extra range, because right now she's only on 600 range.
Yeah.
Like the extra range you get once you're like level 14 and 15 is the one you are really safe when you're wave clearing. And as you can see, like Neverland Voyagers is just like angling in for the Infernal that's gonna spawn. And this is looking really grim for Abstract Chaos because like the Casio doesn't get the show in time. Shen has
being on this Drake first is so important for each comp. They both want to have the tools to choose to start this Drake and then choose when's the right time to engage. And Shadow Hopper, especially, being able to be on the Drake first and for them to pull it and then wait for an engaged option so they can respond to that is really important because, you know, that Casio ulti is going to be so big, but oh, it's getting chunked out entirely. Bullet going to feel pressured. Flash ulti's in with the Glacial Fissure, but oh my god, damage onto the backline as a suppression onto Chicken. We can't exactly see, but Chicken's going to fall down. Chemical just missing the taunt there. Big, and huge Nah ultimate combined with the CC. Malzahar finding the silence to pick that up, and then be flashing forward trying to find another kill. What a fantastic Nah.
Probably the best Nah ult in the whole series so far.
Yeah, fantastic. Really well played, little Skater Boy. You found a really good fight tangent for them, and now with 4 dead, they can look for this Baron.
Yeah, and Skater Boy is getting really low for his comfort. Ah, the plant saved him there. Yeah, like it was just like what happened. Like they needed to walk into the choke. They walked into the choke. They ate a lot of damage from Sana. They like jumped in. Cryptification just sold the whole team with his ultimate, and suddenly you're stuck. Like Casio doesn't have movement. Ezreal doesn't have his arcane shift anymore, and like you're stuck. And when you're stuck against a team that has like already has like the petrifying gaze and has the Nara ultimate and has the quickness, you can't really walk into them. Like walking into Rakan wants you to walk into him just so his Tristana can get 3 autos is scary.
And that's the big issue, right? Is that their disengage is super reliant on them having the opportunity to pause to fight for a second to start those options. When the Gnar is so swift in that, and especially once that Glacial Fish has been burnt, the only response they have to an engage is Petrifying Gaze. And Lil Skater Boy was on it like that. Immediately finds the ultimate and shuts down Casio from disengaging the fight entirely.
Yeah, and the Casio did land a good Petrifying Gaze. Like, he landed a 2-man. He, like, stunned Blazing. He stunned the Gorkon. But it wasn't enough.
Yep. And that's the thing. The gold lead is so significant now. 7k up on this. 3rd Drake unlocked as well. So double Infernal, meaning Malzahar's, you know, he's sitting on a little bit of extra AP alongside with that Triss being maybe a little bit stronger, as I've just accidentally clicked on the timeline. So I've lost my timestamp real quick. Do you know what time you're on? Just so I can do it?
24:50 right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so like
very good. Like, but we're just gonna see a little bit of sieging in the mid lane. Looks like Envy and the rest of his team they've got the Baron now. Pressure wanna be up. At the same time, Malzahar's gonna sit in that side lane. He's just gonna keep shoving waves in. He knows his role, just to create endless pressure, so this team is gonna look split. And you can see it here. Braum doesn't really know which lane to sit by. He needs to guard bot at the same time as mid, and slowly but surely, Lil Skater Boy is gonna pressure up this top tower. With Mega Gnar now available, they might maybe look for a dive in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they're just executing the 1-3-1 really good right now. Like, you can see, like, Skater Boy is just pressuring the Shen, like, bringing him down.
Yeah, and this tower's going down so quickly. Fantastic pressure from Blazing Midnight now. At the same time, remember, Cryptification has the Stormbringer available. If at any point they see numbers missing, that ultimate can be used. And you can see Cryptification maybe posturing for it now. Onslaught of Shadows used. Stormbringer having at the same time the Quickening being engaged. Shadow Hopper walks out, though. Casio misses the Flash ultimate. And then JFP getting absolutely punished. It looks like Stand United going to be burned just to make sure he lives, but they're all on a sliver of HP. Pressuring still happening right now because, you know, Blazing Midnight, Envy still really healthy. Oh, Lil Skater Boy getting another Mega Gnar available. Jumps forward, finds the 2-man ulti, finds the stun, 2 kills being picked up. Chicken and Bullet are both down at the same time. Rakan jumping forward. Flashed. Oh, didn't even flash in. But picks up the kill on Dick and Bull Benny. Only 2 available left now to defend this as a final stand.
Yeah, the 1-3-1 was just really well executed. They just made sure to pull to the Chen. Chen had little less HP than he wanted to when he TP'd. Like, the engage from Abstract Chaos was just a little bit too much for their own liking. They just
and you can see JFP trying to play for it, but the Nether Grasp is available and Envy picks up that final kill. Gonna be looking for this Nexus here as a fantastic series comes to a conclusion. 2-1. To Neverland Voyagers. fantastically played, especially. I think shoutouts to Blazing Midnight for maybe not, the most outplay of the century, but a really good pick for their team to play through, right?
Yeah, on the long term, he weathered the early storm of the Casio. Yes, he died to her once, but he was able to at least handle himself.
Yeah.
He was able to survive the first 6 levels, and then the help from Cryptification and Shadowhopper really bailed him out to the point that Casio was just out of the game.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, right? Is that outside of these individual picks, the larger macro choices that you saw from especially Shadowhopper, right? Like shout outs to Shadowhopper here. We saw some really good micro choices from Lil Skater Boy. What a fantastic ulti in that third fight there for the Drake, right? But Shadowhopper was a standout for me in the entire series for being a pretty staple point where the team played for macro choices. The vision score was consistently, the vision was really well laid out from Neverland Voyagers. And you can see the vision score at the end of the game there. 74 vision score in a 26-minute game from Shadowhopper. So a standout performance, especially for Shadowhopper in my eyes.
Yeah, indeed. And in this game, I think a big part, the turning point, was just Skater Boy with the Gnar ultimate on the third Inferno.
Oh, absolutely. Doing a really good response to the Shen as well, because one of the big strengths of Shen with that Stand United is opportunity to cross-map play. And I think Lil Skater Boy always had a response to it. Which brings us perfectly into the tangent because we're going to have Lil Skater Boy in for the interview now if he's ready. Can we get him in? Fantastic. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. How'd you're obviously feeling good after this series win?
Hell yeah.
So I think we can jump straight into it. We're looking at. I think the Gnar was a pretty signature pick. You pulled it out twice now. Looking at the final game, how are you feeling into the Shen match? Oh, he's had to mute real quick, but I'm sure we'll have him up in a second. No, that's all right. No, that's
okay. Basically, could you say that question again? So I was interrupted by Perry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So obviously, Gnar was a big pick for you, right? And in the final game, you're against the Shen matchup. How are you feeling coming into the matchup? And obviously, with your success into it, just give us your thoughts.
Well, so I played it first game against against an Olaf, where I felt like I was being a little bit pressured, to be honest. I felt like I couldn't really engage. But for the third game with the Shen, I felt like that was a different story. I felt like I had the range advantage over him.
Yep.
And I was able to just sort of, push it, try and push him off of waves, maybe get him to early back. But during that game, it was I mainly just tried to use the Gnar for dragons.
Yeah,
that was the main reason for the pick. It was just mainly for whenever dragon's up, just TP in and try and utilize Gnar then.
No, fantastic. Demise?
Yeah, really good Gnar play in the first and third game, but I just want to know something. In game 2, where you played the Malphite, where do you think your shortcomings as a team went? Did you feel you pushed your advantages too far? You took you don't want to? What happened there?
I think we got overwhelmed by the Jax. I think he was genuinely a key factor in what happened. We tried to make certain decisions, let's go do this, and for example Drake, and we noticed Jax pushing in, so it became extremely tough to make decisions, because we're having to think about, Jax is now pushing top, he's going to push into our base, we need to do something. We either obviously do the objective or we go deal with him, and it just reached a point in the late game where Jax was strong, Ari got quite fed off of picks, and the I think also it was the last team fight as well. I think I could have maybe played it a little bit better with my Malphite ult. Should have maybe used it more front to back rather than try and use it to intercept a Hecarim and Kaiser.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it was just those sort of 3 key things.
Fair enough. Well, then after game 2, obviously, I think especially we had a few key members maybe not performing as well on your team. I think Shadowhopper really suffered in game 2 alongside Midnight, right? So with the mental coming into game 3, how are you guys feeling? And obviously we saw the draft adapt, right, as well. So alongside that, did you have the plan in mind of, okay, we need to shift away from what we played in game 1 and game 2?
Yeah, game 2 was very rough for us when we came off. It was the we established what we thought. Like, we established everything that went wrong during that game, and so when we came into this game, we just sort of thought, oh, they're probably going to go for something similar. So we'll try and draft something where we can maybe counteract what they do. And I felt like we still did pretty good, even though this was mainly for the previous comp that they had run.
No, very good. No, thank you so much. I honestly, I love that. I think you did a really good job, especially in game 1 of counter drafting, I would say. And then obviously you tried in game 2, you come back in game 3 and do a really similar thing again. So big standout for me was mid lane, right? Because JFP was having, JPF, I think I called him JFP. If you're watching, I'm so sorry. I said the wrong name the entire series. JPF was having, looked really strong. Coming into the first 5-10 minutes of the game. Was there active call-outs on its over-aggression in mid lane and voice chat?
I would be honest with you, I can't really remember. I think that I think it was mainly just the fact of like our jungler noticed that. I'll just say that it was mainly the jungler noticed the over-aggression, and he tried to utilize that a lot better in game 3.
Yep.
And that was the sort of thing we ended up trying to do in game 3.
Very good. So anything else, Demise?
I think the only thing I just wanted to add, like, what is your team's like preference style of play? Like, do you like playing the heavy engage comms that like relies on Gnar and relies on like the Rakan engage? Or do you prefer like a more stable, like, let's just pull them into us and pull them into our web, the thing that they did in game 1, where like you had Ivern and Seraphine, where you just like control the game. They tried to get into you, they couldn't shoot through anything. Like, what exactly like do you feel is like easier for you as a top laner to play into?
Well, in terms of top side, I'm very flexible with my picks. I will be like, I'm very open with that with my team. I say that like, if you want me to play something, I'll play it. And that's normally what happens top side. It's just I give my coach like 100% trust in what he decides for me. For the rest of the team, I can't really be certain. The playstyle we try to normally go for, like, it differs depending on what we're feeling in that sense. So if we're feeling, we want to, let's say, be more engaged, we'll try and draft a more engaged comp. If we want to try and poke, we'll try and draft a more poke comp in that sense. So yeah, I think I would say we're pretty flexible with what we want in that sense.
No, very good. Well, classic top lane, just doing what your team asks you to do. I've been there.
Yeah.
So no, well, fantastically played for you. Especially game 3 was such a good climax for you. I guess like you got a load of really great ultis. So well played to you. Any shout outs before we?
I'm doing these shout outs. I'm shouting out my whole entire team. I'm shouting out Crypty the jungler. I'm shouting out Blazing Midnight for his impressive Malzahar in that 3rd game.
Yeah.
I'll also shout out Envy, the team captain, or that's what I'd like to refer to him as. And I'm also shouting out Shadow Hopper as well, because without them, like, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in.
Oh, that's great. That's so sweet. I love it. It brings a tear to my eye. Right. Well, thank you so much. Really impressive. I hope you guys have best of luck in the split, and best of luck to the losing team as well. Abstract Chaos. I see a bright future nonetheless. Anyway, so thank you so much. And yeah, that's been us for today, guys. Make sure to tune in next week. And actually on Thursday as well, because we've got VL Div 1 and Div 2 showing up on stream. So, and then, hopefully I'll be casting shortly with the Mives as well. So, should be good. But thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, thanks again to Lil Skater Boy for tuning in with the interview. Best of luck, guys.
Good luck with the rest of your games, Faith.